Hello everyone, my name is Michael S.K. and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 6. Don't worry, I'm not tired for this recording session like I was in the previous two. Wide awake and ready to see what Ren is getting herself into this time. So Ren is actually losing her mind a little bit, and I've been making a lot of comparisons to kind of how Keiichi has been very distrustful and delusional in previous chapters, especially chapter 1. But seeing it from an outside perspective and then back to Rena, yeah, Rena's really going overboard here. She is thinking a lot of unreasonable things on top of the theory that may or may not be totally accurate. It's an interesting theory, I will continue to say, but there's just so many unknowns. So Rena feels like, okay, she's targeted, she needs to run away. And she could be targeted, who's to say? You know, the game could really just be pulling a wild one from under me. You know, make it look like she's delusional, but she really isn't. I don't know. So let us read on here as she continues to, I guess, think like she's getting the jump on all of her enemies. I went to a small convenience store and bought as much sweet bread and canned food as I could fit in my backpack. An old lady was at the register. Probably suffering from dementia, she showed no interest in the extraordinary amount of food I was buying. But as soon as the manager of the store checked the sales that night, he'd find out. The idea didn't bother me because I can no longer walk around the village in the daylight anyway. My backpack was full, and the cans hurt my back as I walked. But that didn't bother me either. I got to my hideout still carrying the heavy backpack. I organized the stuff I brought. It was very heavy to carry, and now I had sufficient food. The abandoned construction office still had running water, so I can get some from there. I'd wanted to get some vegetables, but in a situation like this, I could hardly complain. After I organized things, I took out the scrapbooks I hid here and put my brain into top gear, flipping through the pages. So now what? How am I going to stand up against this gigantic conspiracy? I needed to calm down, stay cool, but also to think fast. There might not be a lot of time, so I'd have to hurry, but I don't know what to do. It's easy to run to school in the morning when I oversleep. It's easy because I know where I should go. But now I don't know where I should go or go to or what I should do. Now that I've come to this point, I should tell Oishi-san everything. It's highly likely he's an enemy, but that doesn't matter anymore. If it was true, I'd just declare war. But if he was on my side, he'd be my only remaining hope. I'm far too weak to stand alone against the terrifying scale of this conspiracy poised to instill fear throughout Japan. I'd have to use a public phone to make the phone call. There's only one public phone in this village that stands at a place where it's hard for people to spot you. That phone booth. Yeah, this is the one where the cord was clipped. Well, I guess all the cords were clipped whenever, whatever the dude's name in chapter 4 was, whenever he was trying to call his wife. I think that was the situation. And I think it was Rika who clipped all the phone lines. You know, whatever her purpose was for that. It stands in the middle of nowhere where nobody really comes around. Many bugs gather around the light when it's dark, and it's not a pleasant place to go. Excuse me. Isn't this also where Keiichi died in chapter 1? But I can't think of any other public phones I can use to contact Oishi-san without being seen. Even though it stands in the middle of nowhere, it's still dangerous to use in the daylight. I should wait until nightfall and take advantage of the darkness. I heard that Oishi-san had been holed up in the station since Mio-san's murder case, so I should be able to reach him any time. I have the number for the direct line to his office too. The sky was still bright. Even though I had no time, I still had to wait for it to get dark. Frustrated, I glared at the sunset. I should find something to do. I couldn't waste any time that I had, so there must be something to do. After I thought about what I could do, I found that there was something I wanted to confirm, something I've been worried about. I couldn't do anything else before it got dark anyway. Staying here doing nothing would just make me more frustrated. I made my decision and left the hideout. Alright, now we're following Keiichi. Rena's father paced up and down restlessly in front of his house. A bicycle appeared, its rider ringing the bell. A police officer from Hinamizawa police station had shown up. Having rushed to get there, he was breathing hard.
お待たせしました。状況をお伺いします。確かに施錠して出て行ったんです。そうしたら、まず家の扉が開きっぱなしになってまして。
He led the police officer into the house. Maybe we're not following Keiichi.
私の部屋の手提げ金庫がまんまとやられまして。ご主人、これはその時のまま？触ってない？ええ。犯人の指紋とかあるだろうと思いまして、金庫には触れてません。ただ中身を確認したので、中のものには少し触れています。それで、取られたものは？貯金通帳と印鑑は大丈夫だったんですが、中に入ってた現金を全部。通帳と印鑑、大丈夫だったんですか？そりゃあ不幸中の幸いでしたね。最近は通帳から足がつくと思って、プロは現金しか持ってかないんですよね。こりゃあだいぶ手慣れた空き巣かな。
It's really not.
金庫ごと持ってかないで、この場で開けちゃうってんだから、相当のプロだね。で、お金はどのくらいやられちゃって？ちょっと数えてなかったんですが、多分1万円札で100枚近くはあったと思います。そう。それだけの現金が入ってることを誰かに知らせた？いえ、誰にも知らせてはいませんが、あの女たちならこの家に金があることを知っていたかも。あの女？ちょっとお話を聞かせていただけますか？実はあまりみっともいい話じゃないんで、マミヤ・リナという女とですね。
Just then the phone rang.
すみません、ちょっと出てきますね。すぐ戻ります。
He grabbed the phone.
はい、竜宮です。
すみません。前原と申しますが、レナさんはいらっしゃいますか？
レーナはまだ帰ってきてません。
まだ帰ってない？
申し訳ないんですが、ちょっと今立て込んでます。遊びの電話でしたら、またかけ直していただけますかね。申し訳ないですね。失礼いたします。
He hung up after that. Yeah, this ain't looking too good. Oh shit, the text is the text is more red, right? I brought this up last time that I thought it had gotten darker. It's jumping from the white back over to Rena's color, and it's kind of hard to tell if it's like more red. It looks more vivid. Like the previous color was just a little saturated. Now it feels like there's more of a vividness to it. It's a brighter red. I was stunned. It didn't look like anything had changed on the surface. It was hard to find this place at all because it perfectly blends in with the surroundings. I only found this place again because I remembered that there was a tree with a big lump of wood on it nearby. The spot where I buried the corpses was perfectly camouflaged, as if nothing had happened. That's why at first I thought I came to the wrong place. But I could make certain once I stick a shovel in the ground, I should be able to tell right away whether this place was dug up before or not. After several false starts, I found the exact spot where I buried the corpses. But the biggest problem of all is that there are no bags in there at all. Why? How come? Did I bury them deeper than this? No, I didn't. I remember exactly how deep I buried them. I know I didn't bury them deeper than this. I wasn't expecting this. I came here to check the corpses. I just wanted to do that to kill some time. I didn't want to stay in my hideout doing nothing, so I came here to check if the corpses I buried were still there. I'd make sure that they were still there, and I'd feel relieved. It was supposed to go like that. This was such an unexpected turn of events that I broke out into a cold sweat. What's going on? What's going on? I don't need to calm down to think about what happened. Corpses can't come back to life and crawl out of the ground, yeah, especially if they're cut up like that. Someone must have dug them out. Who did it, and for what purpose? Did anyone happen to see us burying the corpses here? And did they dig them out after we left? What if they handed them over to the police? No, it can't be. It's been quite a while since the day we buried them here. It was before the Watanagashi festival, so if the police did find the corpses when Oishi contacted me, he had to know about Rina and Teppei, but he didn't tell me anything about them. I don't think he was hiding anything on purpose either, so that means the police don't know about Rina and Teppei yet. Then why are the corpses gone? That would leave only one answer. Who knows about this place? One of us came back here, dug out the bags, and took them away. The first person who comes to mind is Mio. I mean the Sonozaki family, but I can't think of a reason why they would do that. The murder of Rina and Teppei has nothing to do with them. I'm sure they don't want to get involved either, let alone be falsely accused. They must want to stay as far away from this case as possible. Why would they want to keep the corpses? It's like keeping a joker even though you'll lose if you have the joker by the end of the game. If I was Michan, what would I do? What would I do if I was club president? The joker is a card that you want to get rid of, at least in the game I mentioned earlier, but it becomes a powerful card in other games. What kind of game would that be? An electric shock ran through my spine. At the same time I realized it. They are one step ahead of me. The Sonozaki family got the corpses to use them as a joker, as a wild card. They're trying to use them to sell me out to the police. The Sonozaki family is trying to kill me using their death squad, but they want to have insurance just in case they fail. The thing they're afraid of the most is that I might work together with the police. If they could prevent that from happening, I'd have no one to work with. If that happens, I can no longer run away from them. I'd still be a fish in their pond. They're going to use the corpses to sell me out to the police for the murder of Rina and Teppei. If the police started seeing me as a suspect, they'd never listen to my story. They could have been my last hope, but this will certainly turn them against me. But I'm sure the Sonozaki family doesn't want to use their joker unless absolutely necessary. After all, Mio and Sonozaki helped bury the corpses. Plus, they don't want the police to hover around Hinamizawa when the day of revival is so close. I'm going to call Oishi tonight, and I'm going to ask him for help. I'm going to tell him everything, including the things I haven't even told Keiichi-kun. I don't know if Oishi will believe me. This is a gamble, and my chance of winning is very small. Plus, my worst enemy has the Joker, the bags with the corpses inside. That's actually really strange. I'm very, curious as to what could have happened. Maybe one of the others did actually come back. Probably not Keiichi, probably not Mio. It could have been Mio. Came back and maybe buried them elsewhere. Maybe scattered them. I don't know. Or maybe that whole tree thing started. But if that started, then they were dug up. I don't know. Were the bags actually taken out from the ground, or are the bags themselves empty? This is reminding me of Keiichi Chapter 3. I'm impressed with Mion. That's just what I'd expect from the leader of our club. This is a battle that I'm betting my life on, but to Mion, this is like a board game taking place across Hinamizawa itself. I grinned, repeating to myself that it's just a game. I put my life on the line for every club activity we do because I don't want to suffer the punishment. This time, that's become the literal truth. There could be only one reason why they're trying so hard to drive me into a corner. It's because they're afraid of me. I assumed that I was just a little girl with no power, running about in confusion. But my enemy must not be thinking that way. If they didn't think I was a threat to them, they wouldn't take risks like this to drive me into a corner. That means the scrapbooks Mio-san left me must be way more dangerous to them than I think they are. I see. They have a joker. But so do I. The joker I have is so deadly and so powerful that it can break their plot into pieces. And that's why they're so eager to find me. A cornered mouse really can bite a cat. I felt my fear towards my enemy fade away all of a sudden. Just as I fear them, so do they fear me too. So this is an evenly matched game. I don't have as bad a hand as I thought I did. I was right to come here. I found out about my card, or about the card my enemy was holding. This is a big deal. I felt myself shiver with excitement. I grinned to encourage myself. I don't need to be here any longer. They know this place. They might come here to find me. It's not safe for me to stay here for long. I decided to go back to my hideout. On the way back, I passed close to my house. I noticed something different right away. I hid behind a bush and looked at the front gate of my house. Ah, shit. This is probably going to lead to even more misunderstandings from her perspective. My father was talking to a police officer. I strained to catch their conversation.
はい、いつもはそこに止めてあるはずなんです。
My father pointed to the place where I usually parked my bicycle.
わかりました。もしお嬢さんが帰られましたらご連絡をください。こちらの方でも探してみます。
Michan, you're good. Did you already play your Joker? Mion always starts a battle by attacking without hesitation and wins. It seems like the police are already after me. My chance of being able to explain the conspiracy to Oishi was already small, but this makes it even smaller. Come on, Rena, oh my god. They're obviously looking for you because you just ran away. No, that's why I'm going to talk to Oishi. He sees the Sonozaki family as his enemy, and he's trying to expose everything about them before his retirement. That's why he'll be on my side. He's not going to fall for their trick. Of course, there's a very high possibility that everything was part of their trap from the very beginning. It's possible that he claimed the Sonozaki family was his enemy in order to make me believe that he's on my side. But their Joker is actually giving me hope. If Oishi is one of them, it would be too early to play their Joker. Oishi isn't one of them. That's why they got the Joker, so they can play it before I go to the police. No, wait, that might be a trick to make me think that way in order to make me trust Oishi. When Mion gives me two choices to choose from, it's usually better to choose the one I like without thinking too much. Mion, after all, likes to guess people's intentions in order to confuse them. So when you think about a choice too much, you're already in her trap. I'm going to do as I planned. I'm going to call Oishi after it gets dark. If he's going to become my ally, we can talk about the future. And if he isn't, that I realized was what I had to think about before it got dark. My god, Rena! Oh my god. She is just losing her shit here, and it's sad to watch. Maybe this is how it was like with Keiichi, and I just didn't realize it, you know?
いえいえ、時間のことは気にしないでくださいよ。残業代はついちゃいませんが、ちゃんと勤務中ですので。
I started the conversation with an ordinary greeting to try and gauge his reaction. There's a 50-50 chance that Oishi is one of them. If he's their pawn, he'll either lure me out somewhere so he can arrest me, or he'll ask me where the scrapbooks are. But even if he didn't, that wouldn't prove anything. It's going to be difficult to determine if he's on my side or not, and I'd have to tell him about the scrapbooks no matter what. My heart's beating very fast. Even if I was sure that Oishi isn't their pawn, I'd still have to make him believe such a crazy story. And I'd have to do that over the phone. Worrying wouldn't do anything for me. This is, I know, a gamble. I have but a small chance of winning. If I didn't put my chips on the table, the game wouldn't even start.
以前も少し話しましたが、やっぱり私、何者かに狙われてるみたいです。
それは本当ですか？
ええ、以前まではひょっとすると気のせいかもしれないと思う程度だったのですが、昨日あたりから間違いないと思うレベルになりました。
Are you certain though?
間違いないレベルと言いますと？
数台の車が私の身辺を伺っているようなんです。うちの1台は白いワゴン車で、造園屋に偽装した4人の特攻隊と思われる人間が乗っています。
特攻隊というと、園崎家の暗殺部隊の？
はい、おそらくそうに違いないと思います。今日、学校にまで詰めかけてきました。あわやのところで逃れましたが、危ないところでした。し
かし、なんだって急に。まさか竜宮さんが富武殺しについて嗅ぎ回っているとでも思い込んだんですかね。
Oishi hadn't mentioned the scrapbooks yet. It sounded rather unnatural to beat around the bush like that by mentioning Tomatake's murder. But as I haven't told him about the scrapbooks, it could be a legitimate reaction.
実はですね、ついさっき嫌な話を耳にしました。もうちょっとちゃんと調べてからお耳に入れたかったのですが、お互い新情報を知ったら伝える約束です。ですので、とりあえずお話しておきます。
You found a couple of cut-up bodies, huh?
実は沖宮の園崎組で悪い動きがあるらしいんです。
No, that's not what I expected.
園崎組で悪い動きですか？
ええ、ちょっとショックな話かもしれません。実は若い衆に人探しを命じているという話なんですがね。
人探し？
My heart stopped for a moment upon hearing that. Are they?
私もにわかには信じられません。探しているのはあなたらしいんですよ。竜宮レナを探させているそうなんです。まだ仕入れたばかりの情報なんで何が狙いかはつかめていませんが、あなたの名前が出ていることだけは間違いありません。
So this is strange. And I brought this up last time as well. And I think even in the description of a video 2 episodes ago. With all these like different perspectives that we're now getting with Keiichi, you know, now jumping back and forth with whatever he wants to believe, and Rena being a hardcore, yep, it's all a conspiracy. These are all the enemies, as she points to every fucking character in the series, including herself. Yeah, so I don't really know what to believe anymore, and I'm kind of just gonna have to sit back and go for along the ride here. I'll obviously continue to make predictions and such, but yeah, I'm not sure if there really is a death squad, but obviously we know that the Sonozaki has their connections and underground people, of which they give indirect orders to, and Oishi could be completely bullshitting here. Oh, excuse me. Oishi could actually just be completely lying and rolling this shit off the top of his tongue in order to try and push Rena to say something or to satisfy her weird-ass thoughts and theories. I don't know. It's a weird situation right now.
私が身に危険を感じ始めているという話、信じてもらえますか？
ねえ、互いの話がきれいに一致します。リュウさん、これはどういうことですか？お心当たりは？
What they're really looking for are the scrapbooks I have. They want to know where they are, and they believe that I'm hiding them. They must be thinking that they'll be able to hide the information in the scrapbooks forever if they succeed in shutting my mouth. But I couldn't tell Oishi about that yet. I answered his question by asking him a question.
大石さんの方で何かわかりませんか？私には全然どうしてだか。
私だってわかりません。園崎組があなたという個人を狙って動くなんて考えられない。でも事実なんです。信頼できる筋から得た情報で紛れはありません。
園崎組が私に関心があるのではなく、園崎本家が私に関心があるというのはどうですか？
こういった動きはめったに見せるものではありません。例えば組の上納金の持ち逃げがあったとか、そういうトラブルがあった時にはこういう騒ぎもあったりします。でもそれは大抵組関係の業界の話で、仇である個人が対象となるなんて前例がありません。
私がその貴重な一例目であるのは嬉しいですが、前例がないで済まされちゃこっちはたまらないです。
まあ、竜宮さん。
Do you now?
落ち着いて落ち着いて。今度は竜宮さんが話す番じゃないんですか？
何をですか？
竜宮さん、園崎組がこういう動きを見せることはおいそれとあることじゃありません。何かの誤解にしたってなかなかあることじゃない。心当たりはありませんか？竜宮さんにとっては何気ない何かが彼らを誤解させている可能性もあります。私の読みでは連中、あなたが園崎本家周辺を嗅ぎ回っていて、何かとんでもない事実を掴んだ、もしくは掴んだと思い込んでるのどちらかじゃないかと思います。
I mean, Keiichi's the one that actually confronted Mion about what he had heard from Rena, but he actually never let it slip that it was Rena who told him these things that she got from the scrapbooks. Could Mion, you know, if we're really gonna go down that road, could Mion have deduced that it was Rena that's been snooping around, that's why she's been kind of dipping out from school, not feeling well, maybe she knows something is up, and maybe she did something to maybe initiate this hunt or whatever you want to call it? I don't know. If you really want to look down that road.
それは竜宮さんが日々の生活でしてしまうような些細なものじゃない。もっと目立つ何かです。本当に心当たりはありませんか？
Is he my ally or my enemy? I still can't figure it out. This is it. Make your decision, Renarigu.
多分私がミオさんのスクラップ帳を預かっているからだと思います。
ミオさん、高野ミオのスクラップ帳ですか。そいつは一体。
If he was my enemy, he wouldn't be able to hide his excitement. But his voice remained steady, and it didn't sound unusual when he said the word scrapbooks.
はい、実は私、ミオさんが殺される数日前に彼女と図書館で出会って、その時に意気投合して彼女に研究をまとめたスクラップ帳を数冊預けられたんです。
研究をまとめた？
はい、ミオさんはHinamizawa村の歴史について深く研究していたんです。そしてそれらを数冊のスクラップ帳にまとめていました。奴らはミオさんを殺した時、スクラップ帳が何冊か足りないのに気づき、それを私に託していたことを気づいたのだと思います。
奴らの狙いはスクラップ帳？リグさん、それは一体何なんですか？
Hinamizawaがかつて鬼ヶ淵村と呼ばれていた太古の昔についての研究をまとめたものです。お社様信仰の発祥について書かれています。
お社様信仰？人食い鬼の末裔が仙人になってっていう？
ええ、ミオさんはその研究の中でお社様信仰についてのある重大な秘密を暴いたんです。その研究結果はお社様を神聖であると崇める人たちにとっては極めて冒涜的な内容でした。
なるほどなるほど。信仰の特に盲信的な連中にはその研究の存在が許せなかった。
Oishi was taking notes. I could hear him writing something while he spoke.
彼らはミオさんを消し、そのミオさんが残したスクラップ帳も葬ろうとしているんです。最初のうちは私が持っているのかどうか分かりかねているようだったんですが、昨日を境に疑わしきは殺せという方針に変わったように感じています。
なるほど。それは好ましい状況ではありませんね。あなたの身辺を警戒させましょう。あとそのスクラップ帳を拝見させてください。高野殺しの何かの手がかりになるかもしれない。
あ、いえ、警察の内部にも奴らの手先が混じっている可能性が高いです。ですから身辺の警戒は結構です。自分の身は自分で守ります。あとスクラップ帳も同じです。彼らはそれを抹消しようとするでしょう。たとえ警察の中であっても。
園崎組があなた一人をターゲットに動いている以上、もしこれが園崎本家の頂上からの指令なら、その可能性は確かにありますね。園崎本家が敵だった場合、
そういうことです。ですから私のことは気にしないでください。それよりお願いがあります。とても重要なお願いです。
言ってください。何ですか？
ミオさんの研究によるならば、今Hinamizawaの闇に恐ろしい陰謀があり、それが遠くないうちに実行されそうなんです。
陰謀？それは一体何です？
I got tense all of a sudden. If I tell him everything, it's going to sound like a big lie. I should leave out the bizarre sounding parts for now. It'd actually make the story more credible.
奴らの正体はお社様信仰の信者たちです。奴らは明治以降すっかり下火になってしまったお社様信仰の意向を取り戻し、太古の鬼ヶ淵村の時代のような厳格な信仰を復活させようとしているんです。
続けてください。メモしてます。
ミオさんの研究によると、お社様伝説の根底には大昔のある風土病の存在があるんです。その風土病の猛威がお社様のたたりと恐れられ、それを治療できる医者的存在がお社様と崇められ、村を支配した。
そうだったんですか。なるほど。続けて。
その風土病は土着のある特殊な寄生虫によるものだったんです。ですが長い世代を繰り返すうちに徐々に無害になっていき、ご存知の通り今では何事もありません。彼らにとって風土病が無害ではお社様のたたりがなく、たたりがなければ救いも必要ない。だから お社様の神聖性が保てないわけです。
それを復活させようとしたら、それはつまり風土病を蘇らせるということを意味するわけですかな。
そうです。奴らはお社様伝説をゼロからもう一度やり直し、お社様の降臨を再現しようとしているんです。そのため古代の強力な風土病を再発させる原子の寄生虫を研究していたと思われます。連続開始事件の正体はこの研究結果を試すものだったんです。そして富武さんに対して古文書に残る氏脇病を再現できた。奴らは5年かけて原子の力を持つ寄生虫を復活させたんです。
なんてこった。
奴らの最終的な目的はその寄生虫をばらまき、お社様に帰依する者のみを特効薬で救い、お社様信者のみの楽園を作ろうとしているんです。
それは間違いなく事実でしょうね。
I mean, I'm not saying it's a theory. I mean, I've thrown up a whole bunch of shit as we've gone through this goddamn game, from magical bullshit to something like this now. I don't know. I'm always trying to look for what can actually be a realistic cause for a lot of the things that have gone on, but obviously nothing connects, such as this theory. I've never tried to consider something like this, where a lot of the dots actually connect together. So even if it's not this, at least we're on the right trail of delusional shit happening. That's our idea. We can at least go from there.
このスクラップ帳には、その寄生虫がHinamizawaの人間のほぼ全員に寄生している事実が書かれています。医学的根拠に基づいていて、その寄生を間違いなく裏付けます。
信じられない。そう。お寮のババアめ、ほっときゃいつでもお迎えが来るだろうに。自分一人じゃ三途の川一つ渡らないのか。こいつは無差別テロだぞ。なんてこった。
本来の寄生虫はHinamizawa一帯にしか適用できませんでしたが、彼らはその競技の傾向からより広域にわたって寄生虫が環境適応できるよう改良を加えている可能性が高いです。Hinamizawaだけにとどまらない。沖宮を飲み込むか、市内全域に及ぶか、県全体にまで及ぶか。
くそったり、どうすりゃいいんだ。くそ。首謀者は誰です？
Hinamizawa御三家。おそらくは園崎家の当主でしょう。ただしお寮が主会なのか、お寮すらも駒なのかは分かりません。私には奴らを奴らと呼ぶことしかできない。その規模も全く分からないんです。
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest with you guys. With Rena just, standing here in this phone booth, saying all this shit in the middle of the night, in the middle of fucking nowhere, like, I have a feeling that we're gonna hear a tap, tap, tap at some point, and we might be jump scared by, oh, somebody's right here watching us. We weren't realizing it. Because we are kind of getting into, like, the chapter 1 spooky, like, the spooky setting, Like, where there's a lot of untrustworthy, I don't know what you can call it. I don't want to say untrustworthy people, because we know these people. We know Keiichi, we know Mion, we know the two, we know Rika, and we know Sadako. We know everybody. But Rena doesn't trust anybody. But we do, kinda. I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how to describe it properly. I just feel like something's gonna happen. Yes, I am still scarred by the fucking, like, you're lying line that, Rena threw up at us in chapter 1. That shit fucked me up.
それは、このスクラップ帳にも書かれていません。大石さんの方で、見当はつきませんか？
そんな寄生虫だのなんだのの研究をしてるってことは、かなり改造拳銃ぐらいならガレージを改造して秘密工場にもできるだろうが、寄生虫じゃそうはいかないでしょう。
ミオさんは入江診療所に勤めている看護師でした。入江診療所が怪しいということはありませんか？Hinamizawaの規模から見て立派すぎるのが前から不審だと思っていました。
They need a specially designed facility with advanced airtight containment, among other considerations, to be able to do research on dangerous parasites like this one. It's easy to equate suspicious research with a clinic facility, but it also sounds too easy and a little cliche. At first I thought they converted part of the clinic into a secret research center, but that actually sounds a little too unrealistic. Oh, and a lot of this other shit is totally realistic?
とにかくそれがどこかはわかりません。それはどうか大石さんの方で調べてください。怪しげなところを片っ端から調べられないんですか？
ご存知の通り、警察は強制捜査には令状ってもんが必要です。そりゃ後付けで取ることもできますがね、間違いなくそこだという決定的な証拠があった時の話です。
Oishi is a police officer. If he's going to work as a police officer, he has to follow the rules.
でも大掛かりな細菌テロが計画されているのだけは事実なんです。しかもミオさんの殺し方の請求さから見て、私は彼らが実行に移す X デーが近いような気がしてなりません。
わかりましたわかりました。こちらの方でも何とかしています。そんなとんでもない計画ならその先本家も一枚岩ってわけにはいかないでしょう。必ずどこかに胸中で反対している人間がいるはずです。そういう人物と接触できないか、こちらでも探してみます。任せてください。こういうのは私の得意とするところですよ。
Oh yeah, you're really trustworthy, just like in all the other chapters. Oishi laughed to try to cheer me up. I was upset with the work of the police before, but Ushi's positive reaction is very reliable. He's what you might call an outlaw. Ushi's greatest advantage to me is that he doesn't exactly play by the rules. It's very encouraging that he has that kind of skill, especially since we have to act both very quickly and without conclusive evidence. The police normally investigate incidents after they've happened, but that doesn't work in this case. If this incident does occur, it's going to be a big disaster.
ミオさんはなんて恐ろしい陰謀を暴いたんだろうと恐ろしくなります。
I'm scared now that the music stopped.
気の毒な最後でした。隣の県の山中でドラム缶の中でこんがりでしてね。気の毒なことです。そういえばちょいと彼女のことで変わった話がありましてね。
変わった話ですか？
最初何か事件に関係があるのかなって思ってたんですがね、今のとてつもない陰謀の話に比べたらさまつな話です。多分鑑識のちょっとしたミスでしょう。
いえ、聞かせてください。そういう約束じゃなかったですか？
いえ、隠すつもりなんかありません。ただちょいと夏向きな話だったもんで。リュウさん、綿流しの晩を覚えてますか？あの晩の祭りの終わった後です。あなたの仲良し5人組と富武、高野の7人で談笑してますよね。
談笑というほどではありませんでしたが、少し話をしたような気がします。
高野の遺体が見つかったのはその晩なわけですが、隣の県警さんの鑑識では死後24時間以上って出ちゃったらしいって噂があるんです。
You know what? That same thing popped up, I think, in chapter 3? Maybe? I can't remember, but this has popped up before, and I kind of forgot about it. That is interesting. That is very interesting, unless she faked her death. And she used an already dead body. So obviously the crime lab is gonna see, oh yeah, this body's been dead for more than a day. Because that's what she used. That is what she pulled out of her hat and replaced herself with as she went into hiding. But why would she do that? This is a crazy theory that I'm pulling out of my hat.
でもそれだと話がおかしい。あの祭りの前の晩には殺されてることになる。
殺されてることになる。
I'm confused. If she was found dead on the night of Watanagashi, and she had been dead for 24 hours, that means ghost.
早い話が、渡流しの日には高野はもう死んでることになるんですよ。だからあの祭りの晩に会った彼女は実はゾンビだったのかななんてね。まあ、あちらの鑑識のちょいとしたポカでしょう。
Yeah, they ain't making the same mistake fucking twice, or how many times they've actually said it so far in the series. I felt my brain freezing over. Oishi laughed, saying that it sounded like a horror story from summer camp. But actually the fact that Mio-san's time of death was off backed up her incredulous theories. I haven't mentioned this one to Oishi or Keiichi-kun. If I did, they'd start to doubt everything else I've said. And that's how absolutely unbelievable this theory is. At any rate, the mismatch with the time of Mio-san's death means a lot. What irony. Mio-san came up with the theory and she proved it correct with her own life. No, not yet. This doesn't prove anything yet. If her theory is true, it might happen again. Ah, there's no way it could be true. I still can't believe it, but Oishi just said it. He said Mio-san was already dead on the night of the festival. It means that the Mio-san, who was walking arm in arm with Tomitake-san on that night, wasn't Mio-san. Mio-san was already dead, so that wasn't her. That means she was... I felt a new sensation, one I'd never felt in my life before. It wasn't an ordinary kind of dread. It was fear of the truth. No fear is worse than the fear of accepting a truth you don't want to believe. Compared to this fear, the fear of being stalked by the Sonozaki family or being burned alive in an oil drum looks silly. That's how deep of a fear I felt. And I felt it crawling all over my body.
リグさん、悪いことは言いません。警察が信用できないお気持ちもわかります。園崎本家は市内全域を牛耳っていますからね。署にも園崎家の御用聞きみたいな連中がいますし、それでも今のあなたは危険だ。それで、私個人を信用してはくれませんか。私以外の誰も知らないところにあなたをかくまいます。私をどうか信用してください。
I don't doubt Oishi at this point. I actually think he's very reliable. I would have said yes without a second thought. But the situation has drastically changed. If Mio-san's death backs up this unbelievable truth, I trust Oishi. I believe he'll find the enemy and take them down. But I'd rather protect myself on my own than let someone else do it. If the unbelievable truth is real, then I couldn't trust anybody except myself. No, even myself might appear before me too.
大石さん、本当にありがとうございます。とにかく、奴らの研究所を突き止めて、なんとか陰謀を食い止めてください。私はしばらく身を潜めます。また連絡しますね。
Hold up. I just thought of something. Let's get to the end of the episode first. I noticed I'd been on the phone too long. I've been using this phone booth with a light on in the middle of the darkness. In other words, I've been telling everybody I'm here. Let's get out of here, Scoob.
もしもし、もしもし。
She hung up. Oishi wanted to talk more. He clicked his tongue and put the phone down. His junior, Kumagae, rushed into the room.
おいさん、やっぱりヤバそうな山っす。竜宮レナを探させているのは園崎組笠井達義。
Wait, what?
笠井？園崎茜の懐刀じゃないですか。
Tatsuyoshi Kasai was a pretty high-ranking big shot, even amongst the boss's younger brothers. He used to be the boss of a subordinate branch, but after suffering a bad injury during a gang war, he stepped down, and now he served as the boss's aide. Akane Sonozaki relies especially on him, and as her right-hand man, he's still feared even now. When Kasai moves, other gangs consider it as a declaration of war. They fear him very much. He's a warrior among warriors. He's been lying low these days, but he's led countless numbers of gang wars. He was also the leader of the professional attack squadron that went to the US to receive military training during the dam conflict. They were crazy enough to think of attacking the Ministry of Construction for real.
情報や界隈でも相当な騒ぎになっているようです。竜宮レナが園崎組にとって相当都合の悪いものを握ってるんじゃないかともっぱらの噂です。
情報屋の皆さんもさすがに勘がいいですね。こりゃとんでもない山になってきたぞ。
佐藤さんは例の建設省と寮の秘密交渉テープじゃないかって見てるみたいっす。
Wait, what?
だとすれば人が死ぬ騒ぎになるっすよ。
This is more serious than that, Oishi thought. If her story is true, this is a massive conspiracy. It's going to cause more than quite a few deaths. It might destroy the entire village or even the entire prefecture. This is going to be the biggest terrorist strike in history.
竜宮レナ、 やばいですよ。クマちゃん、覆面パトを竜宮家に貼り付かせてください。本日付で竜宮レナから暴力団組織に脅迫を受けている訴えがあったため身辺警護ってことにします。課長には後で私から話します。
いえ、実は竜宮レナは自宅を出ているらしいです。駐在所からの連絡ではどうも家の金を何十万か盗んで雲隠れしているらしいんです。
Well, at least they came to the correct conclusion.
それから竜宮家の前には園崎組の車が1台張り付いているという連絡が。
バッカ野郎！なんでそいつは早く言わないんだ。竜宮レナは相当高度に狙われてるぞ。さっきの電話は家じゃなかったんだ。
Nope.
竜宮レナを至急保護します。車回せ。家の前に張り付いてる野郎を締め上げろ。おい、我がの何か来い。
Wowzers, this is getting interesting.
え？
Oh, hey. We're here over at Shion's place, which means Kasaya is probably here too. Okay, as interested as I am in wherever the fuck this crazy ass ride is going, we're gonna save it here. Okay, so I had thought of something about Mio Takano's death. So we're saying that she had died already, but we were seeing her. So a person in two places, right? Or something along those lines. We've heard the same thing before, and that is with Chapter 3, Keiichi going out and killing Teppei, right? Sotoko's uncle. Well, there's a lot of these other people here saying, you know, our friends, Rena, Rika, Sotoko, and Mion saying, oh, yeah, Keiichi, you were with us over at the festival, and everybody was going along with it. Even those two boys. So it's either Keiichi was having a massive ass delusion, they're lying, they're having a delusion, or there really were two Keiichis. One that's set to die, one that was impersonating him. And the one that was set to die was the one that we were following. But that, I don't know. It's hard to kind of explain that. And we were having the same problem in chapters 2 and 5, where I was originally getting confused as to, you know, Mion, Shion, who is who, and how is one alive when they're supposed to be dead, or whatever the situation is. And I think Oishi had brought that up with Keiichi in chapter 2, making it all the more confusing, but that got straightened out in chapter 5, right? So this body double thing that's going on here, there has to be an explanation for it. And I just want to say that maybe she just faked her death, as straight up as that. But maybe that's too simple of a theory. Why would she want to do that? And if there were two of her, what does that entail? Does that mean there's two of everybody and what have you? Or is there a massive delusion going on there? I don't know. This isn't Chaos Head or Chaos Child where everybody's under a fucking delusion. But anyways, thank you all for watching this episode. This was a lot longer than I originally planned it to be, but that's okay. It's all good for you guys, right? But thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that fancy jazz. I'm excited for this next episode. I hope you guys are as well. Take it easy, guys.